What's up guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Julian and today I've got a pretty exciting video for you. At least it's exciting for me because it's the beginning of a video series where I explore or where I search for the perfect lens for documentary filmmaking for me and for what I'm looking for. And today we're starting off with the Tamron 35-150. And I've just used this lens for a shoot. It was a theater performance and it was exactly what I needed. This is a 35-150 full frame, which means when I put it on my Super 35 camera, I'm getting about a 50 to 225mm full frame equivalent, which is perfect for a theater performance where you're much further away from the subject and you want to get in nice and tight, but you also want to have a zoom range for a bit of versatility in your shot. But for documentary filmmaking, which is what I'm really looking for, I don't think this is going to be the lens for me, even though it is a really great lens. It's got not one, not two, but three function buttons on the house, on the body. The autofocus is super snappy and sharp and yeah, very consistent, which is great for the autofocus. But the manual focusing is really not that great. It's a bit jumpy and sticky. Of course, not the focus ring itself, but when you actually look at the footage, it doesn't seem to focus very smoothly from one subject to the next. It seems to jump from one subject to the next, which can be nice if you just want to quickly get focus. But if you do want to have more control over the focus and do a slow focus, this is not really going to be a great lens for that. I tested this with the Sony 16-55 and with the Sony 24-105, and I did not have that problem. The electronic focus was actually pretty consistent. So that is one of the things that I don't love about this lens. It's also really, really heavy. And when you zoom it out, it extends quite a lot. So it makes it a really big lens. I already find my Sigma 18-35 to be a relatively big lens, but it's a good proportion. It's pretty much the same size as the 35-150. It's a little bit less girthier, you know, less thick. It's not so chunky. But yeah, it's a great lens, but it just doesn't have the focal range that I want. And I've said this a few times on my channel, and that's why I'm starting this series, because I'm really searching for that perfect documentary lens for me. And yeah, unfortunately, this is not going to be it. Great lens, but I don't think it's going to do it. I really think that the Tamron 17-70 could be a great lens for me. Also an F2.8. I definitely want to check out that one. I have tested out the Sony 16-55. A little bit less range, a little bit wider, but and that is a great lens. I really enjoyed it. Felt a little bit small, and the electronic focus is really quick, so even the slightest movement changes your focus. But I want to check out that lens as well. So what am I looking for in a documentary lens? I'm really looking for something that can get nice and wide. I love being able to see my subjects in their environment and get nice and close and intimate with them. I love that. So I really want my lens to have a 24, ideally a 24mm on the wide end. I want about a 3 times zoom factor. 4 times is cool. This is a 4.5 times zoom. 35-150, that's 4.4 times zoom factor. I think that's insane and really unnecessary as well. The difference between 135 and 150, for me, there's no difference. I would rather it be a 35-135 constant f2.8 than to have that little bit extra. On that note, I do have a suspicion that Tamron is going to come out with a competitor for this race of the 24-105 f2.8s. We've got the Canon RF with 24-105, the Sigma 28-105. I'm pretty sure Sony is going to jump on this soon. Tamron, I'm sure they will as well. So I'm very excited for the lenses that are coming up in the future because I think we're going to see some really interesting stuff. So I think that Tamron is going to come out with a 20-85. Honestly, that would be perfect for me. I don't need more than 85. For my documentary work, I like to get tight, but I also like to move with my feet more, and I like to be really close and intimate with my subjects. So I want to have a wide angle view so I can get my subjects in their environment and not compress the background so much that you can't see what's happening there. And I love that Fujinon, the lens company from Fujifilm, is really focusing on zoom lenses. That's great because I love zoom lenses. I don't have time to change lenses every time I want to get a shot. In documentary work, it's more important for me to capture the shot rather than missing the shot because I wanted a shallower depth of field on a prime lens. So zoom lenses have to be the way for me. That's just the way I work. So yeah, very curious to see what Tamron and Sony are going to come out with. And then there's the Sony 16-55, and I think this might be the one for me. I'm going to have a proper look at this lens because that is a great focal range. It's exactly what I'm looking for, a 24-85 equivalent full frame, and it's not that expensive. I can get it secondhand for a pretty good price. So I'm looking at that. I'm looking at the Tamron 17-70, even more range on the far end. Also F2.8, great lens. So I'm definitely going to have a look at those two side by side. Also the Sony power zoom lenses, the 28-135 full frame and the 18-110 Super 35. Those lenses are 10 years old now. Wait, where is it? There it is. These lenses are 10 years old now, maybe even more. And I think they're going to come up with something because the F4, if you're shooting on a FX6 or FX3, a full frame camera with a great low light ability, then F4 is no problem. If you're just getting started out and you have an FX3 or even a Sony A7 III or 4, then a 24-105 is a great first lens. This is the Sony 24-105 F4, and I love this lens. It's really sharp, it's great quality, but yeah, for my FX30, I need something that is faster than an F4. But for all the other features that you get in the Sony power zoom lenses, I would consider it because it's got great autofocus, it's got in-body stabilization, you can change from electronic focus to manual linear focus just by pulling on the focus wheel, which I think is a really nice feature. So I hope that they come back to this lens and they figure out a way to make it an f2.8 with all those other lovely manual features. So yeah, I think we're going to see something there. So it's a very exciting time coming up. If you've got any suggestions for lenses that you would like me to check out or that you're curious to hear my opinion about, please let me know in the comments. I'm going to be testing out lenses and yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun with this video series. So that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed this video and I will see you in the next one.